There's something most people never tell you. Sometimes all it takes to change your life is one question. Not a grand plan, not $1 million idea, just the courage to raise your hand, speak up, and ask. But here's the truth most people never do. They suffer in silence, held hostage by fear, pride, or the illusion that asking for help makes them look weak. So they stay stuck. They drown quietly. They watch opportunities pass them by simply because they were too afraid to open their mouth and say, "Can you help me?" Or "Can I try?" Or "Will you give me a chance?" We live in a world that tells us to be strong, independent, self-made. We glorify the hustle, the grind, the lone wolf mentality. But the truth is, no one climbs the mountain alone. Behind every success story is a moment where someone asked for a hand, asked for guidance, asked for direction. And yet we're trained to avoid asking because we think it shows weakness. But what if asking is actually a superpower? Let me ask you this. How many chances have you missed because you didn't ask? How many times did you stay silent when you should have spoken up? How many doors stayed closed because you never knocked? You'll never know. And that's the tragedy. Because life doesn't give you what you deserve, it gives you what you ask for. If you don't ask, the answer is always no. There's a hidden art in asking. It's not about begging. It's not about desperation. It's about clarity. It's about knowing what you need, what you want, and being bold enough to reach for it. It's about saying, "I matter. My voice matters. My question matters." Because when you ask the right question at the right time, the world moves. Doors open. People respond. Help arrives. But none of that happens until you make the move. Some of the greatest transformations in life begin with simple, vulnerable moments. A young entrepreneur asking for advice that leads to a multi-million-dollar idea. A student asking for an internship that becomes a career. A broken soul asking for help and finding healing. None of that happens without asking. And yet so many of us stay quiet, not realizing that silence is the enemy of growth. You need to know this. There is no shame in asking. The people who succeed are not the ones who know everything. They're the ones who are brave enough to admit they don't. They're the ones who ask questions, seek guidance, and dare to make requests others are too afraid to voice. In the art of asking, there is power, humility, courage, and wisdom. It's not a weakness, it's a weapon. This video is a call to action. A reminder that asking is not something to fear, it's something to master. Whether it's asking for help, asking for forgiveness, asking for a shot at your dream, or even asking yourself the tough questions, this is the skill that can elevate your life. If you've ever been afraid to ask, this is your wake-up call. If you've been suffering in silence, this is your moment to rise. Because the art of asking isn't just about getting answers, it's about unlocking your next level. Part 1. Why we fear asking. From the moment we begin to grow up, we're taught to be brave, to be strong, to figure things out on our own. Somewhere along the way, asking for help became a sign of weakness instead of wisdom. Society told us that if we were smart, we should already know the answer. If we were capable, we wouldn't need to ask. And so, layer by layer, the fear of asking gets built into us. Not just fear of reject ion, but fear of judgment, embarrassment, and appearing vulnerable. That fear grows quietly until it begins to shape the way we live. We stop asking questions in meetings. We avoid reaching out when we're lost. We suffer silently, even when someone nearby could have helped, if only we had dared to ask. But here's what we forget. Every person you admire once asked for help. Every leader, every innovator, every trailblazer, none of them made it alone. Yet the fear of looking foolish keeps people stuck in place. We imagine worst-case scenarios. What if they say no? What if they laugh? What if they think I'm stupid? And so we shrink. We convince ourselves that not asking is safer, when in truth it's far more dangerous. Because while rejection is temporary, regret can last a lifetime. What's truly holding us back isn't the fear of no, it's the fear of being seen. When we ask, we expose ourselves. We admit that we don't have it all together. We show our humanity. And that vulnerability, though terrifying, is exactly where real growth begins. The irony is this. The very thing we're most afraid of, being seen as imperfect, is what actually connects us to others the most. Fear thrives in silence. The longer we avoid asking, the more isolated we become. We start to believe that we're the only ones struggling, the only ones unsure. But we're not. Everyone is fighting something. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is raise your hand and say, "I don't know. Can you help me?" The fear of asking is natural, but it's not unbreakable. Once you recognize it, you can start to challenge it. And once you challenge it, you begin to reclaim your voice, your power, and your path forward. The next time you hesitate, remember this. Not asking is the loudest no you'll ever receive. Part 2. The power behind asking. Imagine standing at the edge of a door that could change your life, but it's locked. All it takes is one key to open it. That key is asking. That simple act, one question, one request, has the power to unlock opportunities you never even imagined. Yet most people never use it. They walk away assuming the door won't open. But history proves otherwise. Some of the most powerful moments in life were set in motion because someone dared to ask. Steve Jobs once asked a stranger for a spare part. That stranger was Bill Hewlett, co-founder of HP. Not only did he send the part, he gave Jobs a summer job. Oprah Winfrey asked for a chance when no one believed in her, and that single ask started her career. These weren't miracles. They were results of a courageous question. People who get ahead aren't always the smartest or the most talented. Often they're just the ones bold enough to ask for what they want. Asking sends a message not just to others, but to the universe and to yourself. It says, "I am ready." It says, "I believe I'm worth it." It says, "I'm not afraid to go after what I need." That kind of mindset doesn't just attract answers, it attracts respect, trust, and opportunity. People are more willing to help those who show the courage to reach out. They see initiative, they see drive, and sometimes they see a version of themselves that once had to ask too. But here's the magic. Asking doesn't only create external results, it transforms you internally. When you ask, you break the walls of pride. You learn humility. You become open to growth. You invite new perspectives. And slowly, you begin to see that asking isn't weakness. It's leadership. It's how you build bridges. It's how you rise. Most doors don't stay closed because they're locked. They stay closed because no one knocks. Every mentor you didn't ask. Every opportunity you assumed was out of reach. Every dream you kept quiet out of fear of hearing no. What if the only thing standing between you and your next breakthrough is a simple question? The power of asking is real. It can lead to new jobs, deeper relationships, unexpected collaborations, and life-changing guidance. But you have to use it. Because while talent gets noticed and hard work builds momentum, it's asking that often turns potential into progress. Part 3. Asking for help is strength, not weakness. Somewhere along the road of life, we were sold a dangerous lie. That asking for help means you're weak. That strong people never need anyone. That successful people do it all on their own. But this idea couldn't be further from the truth. The people who rise highest in life, the leaders, the visionaries, the innovators, they all ask for help. Not because they can't do it, but because they understand something most people don't. Greatness is never a solo act. Think about the most iconic success stories. Athletes have coaches, CEOs have advisors, artists have mentors. No one becomes extraordinary by walking alone. Asking for help isn't about giving up, it's about leveling up. It's about recognizing that someone else's strength can complement your struggle. It's about building something bigger than what you could build by yourself. But pride gets in the way. The ego whispers, "You should be able to handle this." So we keep silent, drowning in stress, confusion, or self-doubt, when a simple question could have brought clarity or support. Real strength isn't in pretending you've got it all together. Real strength is in admitting when you don't and still choosing to move forward anyway. There's courage in vulnerability. When you say, "I need help," you're not falling apart, you're stepping into honesty. You're saying, "I refuse to quit. I just need a hand." That's power. That's resilience. And more often than not, people want to help. They want to support you, to pour into your journey, to see you win. But they can't if you don't ask. Let go of the belief that you have to do it all. Let go of the fear that asking means you're less capable. In reality, asking for help shows that you're wise enough to recognize your limits and strong enough to grow past them. That's not a weakness. That's wisdom. And it's the wisdom that takes you further, faster, and with far less unnecessary pain. There is no shame in needing others. In fact, it's one of the most human things about us. We are designed to support one another, to lean on each other, to rise together. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, lost, or stuck, don't suffer in silence. Speak up. Reach out. Because sometimes the greatest strength isn't in pushing through alone, but in saying, "I need you." Part 4. How to ask the right way. Asking is powerful, but how you ask makes all the difference. A rushed, unclear, or desperate question can push people away. But a well-formed, confident, and respectful ask, that opens doors. It's not just what you ask, it's how you ask that shapes the outcome. And mastering this skill could be the turning point in your life. First, clarity is key. Don't beat around the bush. Don't mumble or hesitate. People can't help you if they don't understand what you need. Be clear. Be direct. Whether you're asking for advice, time, guidance, or opportunity, get to the point with sincerity. A vague question sounds unsure, but a clear one? It shows confidence, purpose, and self-awareness. Second, timing matters. Don't ask in chaos. Don't interrupt someone mid-crisis. Respect their space and state. A well-timed question shows emotional intelligence, and people respond better when they feel respected. If it's important, be patient. Wait for the right moment, and then ask with presence, not pressure. Third, always ask with humility, not entitlement. The world owes us nothing, but it will often give a lot to those who approach with grace. Instead of demanding, invite. Instead of expecting, appreciate. When you ask with gratitude, even before the answer, you elevate yourself in the eyes of others. People remember how you made them feel. Make them feel honored, not used. Fourth, show your intent. Why are you asking? Where will their help lead you? People are more willing to help when they know their time or energy will matter. Share your purpose. Let them see the heart behind the ask. When your intention is pure, people feel it and they respond from the heart too. And finally, follow through. If someone gives you help, use it. Don't waste their effort. Take action. Let them see their investment in you wasn't in vain. And don't forget to say thank you sincerely, and more than once if needed. Gratitude completes the circle of asking. It turns a simple favor into a lasting connection. So many people think asking is just about saying the words, but it's not. It's about energy, presence, respect, and most of all, authenticity. When you ask the right way, people don't just say yes, they want to say yes, because they see someone who is serious, grounded, and ready to grow. Part 5. When the answer is no, and why that's okay. What stops most people from asking isn't the fear of the question. It's the fear of the answer. Specifically the word no. That little word carries weight. It can feel like rejection. It can sting the ego. It can make us feel small. But here's what you need to understand. No isn't the end. It's a redirection. It's not a wall. It's a signpost pointing you somewhere better. And learning to accept no without breaking down is a crucial part of mastering the art of asking. The truth is, you will hear no. You will ask and be turned down. You will reach out and not get the response you hoped for. But guess what? That's okay. Because every no brings you closer to the yes that's meant for you. Every no builds your resilience. It sharpens your focus. It teaches you something. Sometimes it protects you from paths that were never right for you in the first place. The most successful people in the world have been told no more times than you can imagine. Authors rejected by dozens of publishers. Entrepreneurs turned away by investors. Creators mocked before they were admired. The difference is they didn't stop asking. They didn't take no as a life sentence. They took it as feedback, not failure. And here's a mindset shift that will change everything. When someone says no, they're not rejecting you as a person. They're simply saying they can't give you what you need at this moment. That's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their capacity, their timing, their priorities. Don't take it personally. Don't let one no make you retreat into silence. Instead, treat no as part of the process. Learn from it. Ask yourself, what can I improve? Was I clear enough? Did I ask the right person? Was it the right time? Use the no as fuel, not fire. Let it motivate you to refine your ask, redirect your energy, and come back stronger. And most importantly, don't let the fear of no rob you of the possibility of yes. Because every time you ask, you open a door. Some may close, but one might open wide and lead you exactly where you were meant to go. If you stop asking because of one no, you might miss the opportunity that could change your life forever. Part 6. Asking big. Dreaming. Loudly. Most people ask small because they fear being told their dreams are too big. They whisper their goals instead of shouting them. They shrink their ambitions so they won't be disappointed. But here's the truth. You don't rise by asking for scraps. You rise by asking boldly, loudly, fearlessly. The size of your ask reflects the size of your belief. And if you can't ask big, you can't live big. Why do we hold back? Because somewhere deep inside we feel unworthy. We think we don't deserve that job, that opportunity, that dream life. So instead of aiming high, we aim safe. But safe never changed the world. Safe never built empires. Safe never woke someone up at 5 a.m. to chase something that seemed impossible. You want a different life? Then ask for it like you mean it. Like, you know you're meant for more. The universe responds to boldness. People respect boldness. When you ask big, you show courage. You show conviction. You show vision. And even if the answer is not yet, you've already planted the seed that something greater is coming. People won't believe in your dream until they see how strongly you do. And that starts with how you ask out loud, with confidence, without apology. Look at the people who seem to have everything. They didn't wait for permission. They asked for the raise. They pitched the idea. They reached out to the person they admired. They sent the message. They showed up when it felt uncomfortable. And because they asked big, they received big. Not every time, but enough times to build a life others only dream of. Let go of the fear of being too much. Let go of the lie that you have to earn your worth before you ask for more. You're already worthy. You just need to own it. And that begins with speaking your dream aloud clearly, boldly, unapologetically. So ask for the opportunity. Ask for the partnership. Ask for the mentorship, the investment, the door you want opened. Even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble. Because one big ask can change your direction forever. And if you don't ask for the life you want, you'll end up settling for the one you never wanted. Part 7. Asking yourself the right questions. We often think the most important questions are the ones we ask the world. But the truth is, the questions you ask yourself quietly in the dark matter just as much, if not more. Because before you can ask others to help you grow, you have to be brave enough to face what's inside. Growth begins with self-awareness, and self-awareness begins with asking the right questions when no one's watching. Questions like, what am I really afraid of? Why do I hold back? What am I running from? What do I truly want from this life? These aren't easy questions. They cut deep. They peel back layers of excuses, ego, and distraction. But that's exactly why they're powerful. Because when you dare to ask them, you start to uncover your truth. And from that truth, you begin to build a life that's actually yours, not one shaped by fear, expectation, or approval. Too many people go through life never pausing to reflect. They chase goals they don't understand. They follow paths that others chose for them. They silence their own needs in the name of survival. But a powerful life begins when you stop and ask, is this who I want to be? And if the answer is no, you're allowed to change. Start asking yourself the hard questions every single day. Am I proud of how I show up? What do I need to let go of? Who do I need to become to live the life I dream of? These aren't weaknesses. These are the seeds of transformation. When you stop running from yourself, you unlock a deeper strength, a clarity that can't be shaken. And here's the truth. No one can answer these questions for you. Not a mentor, not a friend, not even success. You have to sit with them, wrestle with them. And when the answers come, they might shake your world. But they will also rebuild it with honesty, purpose, and power. So before you ask the world for more, ask yourself who you're becoming. Because when your inner world is aligned, your outer ask becomes unstoppable. That's how you gain not just success, but fulfillment. You become someone who lives on purpose, speaks with intention, and moves with vision. Ask yourself the hard questions. And listen. Because the most important answers in life don't come from others, they come from within. Part 8. Creating a culture of asking. Imagine a world where asking questions isn't seen as a sign of weakness, but as a strength celebrated by all. A world where people don't fear judgment or rejection because they know their voices matter. This is the power of creating a culture of asking, a community, workplace, or family where curiosity, honesty, and vulnerability are encouraged and embraced. Because asking isn't just a personal skill, it's a social catalyst for growth and transformation. In environments where asking is welcomed, innovation thrives. People feel safe to express doubts, to seek help, and to explore new ideas without fear of criticism. This openness builds trust and deepens connection. Leaders who cultivate such cultures don't just get better results, they inspire loyalty, creativity, and resilience. They set a powerful example that growth is a collective journey and no one succeeds alone.
But building this culture requires intentional effort. It starts with listening, really listening, when someone asks a question. It means responding with respect, not judgment. It means making space for those who hesitate, encouraging the shy voices, and honoring every ask as a chance to learn and grow. When people see that their questions lead to support and solutions, they gain confidence to keep asking. It also means leaders and influencers must be vulnerable themselves. When those at the top ask for feedback, admit mistakes, and seek advice openly, they create a ripple effect. Others feel empowered to follow. Asking becomes contagious. It shifts from a risk to a norm. Imagine the ripple effect in families and friendships when asking is encouraged. Problems get solved faster. Misunderstandings are cleared up before they grow. Support flows freely. Relationships deepen because people feel seen, heard, and valued. Creating a culture of asking isn't about having all the answers. It's about embracing the unknown with humility and courage. It's about acknowledging that every question is an opportunity to learn, to connect, and to transform. So, start today. Whether at work, home, or in your community, be the person who listens without judgment. Be the person who encourages curiosity and vulnerability. Be the person who makes asking a habit, a gift, a way of life. Because when we create a culture of asking, we create a world where growth, possibility, and connection are endless. And that is the true art of asking. As we come to the end of this journey, it's time to remember one powerful truth: the art of asking is not just a skill, it's a mindset, a way of living. It's a commitment to stepping out of silence and into courage. It's the choice to believe that your voice matters, that your dreams matter, and that the world will respond when you dare to ask. Too many people walk through life held back by fear, the fear of rejection, fear of judgment, but here's what you must never forget: asking is not a weakness. It's the strongest move you can make. When you ask, you break down walls, not only between yourself and others but also between who you are now and who you have the power to become. Asking opens doors. It creates pathways where there were none. It connects you to people, opportunities, and resources that can change your life forever. The greatest leaders, innovators, and creators didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They didn't silently hope someone would notice them. They asked. They reached out. They showed up with vulnerability and boldness, and that's what changed everything. But the art of asking goes deeper than just external requests. It begins inside. It means asking yourself the tough questions about who you are and who you want to become. It means challenging your fears, your doubts, and your limiting beliefs. It means being honest about what you truly want and having the courage to say it out loud. Because when you master the art of asking, you master your own life. You will hear "no" along the way. That is inevitable. But remember, every "no" is not a rejection, it is a redirect. It's a signpost guiding you to something better, something bigger. Don't let the fear of "no" keep you silent. Keep asking. Keep growing. Because the yes you seek might be just one question away. And beyond your personal journey, imagine the power of creating a culture where asking is encouraged, where questions are welcomed, and where vulnerability is celebrated. A culture like this doesn't just produce results, it produces connection, trust, and belonging. It's a place where everyone can thrive because no one has to pretend to have all the answers. So today, take the step. Ask that question you've been holding inside. Reach out to that person you admire. Speak up about your dreams. Embrace the discomfort of vulnerability because that discomfort is the doorway to growth. Know that by asking, you are claiming your power, your worth, and your future. The art of asking is a lifelong journey. It's a habit to cultivate, a mindset to nurture, and a gift to share. When you embrace it fully, you open the floodgates to possibility. You rewrite your story. You inspire others to do the same. Remember this: the world responds to those who ask. The greatest opportunities come to those who seek them boldly. So don't stay silent any longer. Ask. Listen. Act. And watch how your life transforms. Because your next big breakthrough begins with one simple step: the courage to ask.